So this is our fifth meeting already in the spring season. It's the 17th meeting this year. Wow, time's flying. And it is light. It's even 6 o'clock in the morning. It is light. And this morning um, I surprised myself with a, no, I'm not surprised myself. I surprised myself earlier this week because I like to surprise myself with little presents. And they gave me a little present on Tuesday of last week. And there was a special occasion for it. Just I would like to mention it. Here's my limited company Usoft Skills turned 2 years. So it's now becoming a little toddler and it starts babbling. So that's nice to see. The child's growing. And I presented myself with these hammered copper cups with a long handle that you use to make Turkish coffee. I hope I pronounce it correctly. They're called şefşe. So I boiled that in the morning, and I put it in a big saucepan with boiling water because I was told don't boil the coffee, just heat it up. So now I have this wonderful aroma of Turkish coffee all in my house and still just next to me there. And I hope you have the same or something similar and a good start into the day. So not long ago, you've been sleeping, you've been dreaming. Maybe you remember a dream or you don't. Some people remember all their dreams and they spend long time every day to make sense of their dreams. Does it mean anything? Does it want to tell me anything? Sigmund Freud wrote a whole big book about it, and I spent parts of my university studies with reading that book and writing a big essay about it, which got me a very good mark in psychology. That was good. But I prefer um, that John Grinder's theory. He says dreams are poetry of the heart. Well, he says it a little bit more technical. He says dreams are the poetry of the unconscious mind, but I tend to twist it a little bit into the heart. It fits very nicely into this series of meetings that we had over the last few weeks with leading from the heart and the gut and leading from within. And today it's leading and living in the flow. Now, here is a caveat. I'm not talking about that flow that everybody talks about nowadays. Just get in the flow, get in your mountain bike, get in the flow, get your jogging shoes on, get in the flow. It's a valid concept which was developed, I think, 40 years ago by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And but I'm not talking about this kind of flow. I'm talking about a flow in a sense of the fourth F. We live our life. That's what we hear. We live it either in the state of fight, flight, freeze, and that's not worth living if you only have these three F's: fight, flight, freeze. So the fourth one makes it whole is flow. It's just a little word about dreams and just about this awakening, just awakening from our dreams, growing into the day. This idea of aging, because every morning we are aware or not, that we have aged another 24 hours. And I think the difference between a young person like Edina and an old man like me is there might be many years in between, but every day we live 24 hours. So the process is almost the same. Not quite. I remember in my early 30s, I met a nice, real nice and wise old lady on the train. I was on a journey from Cologne to Hamburg, and it was Carnival Sunday, so not many people travel on this day. And there was an elderly lady got into the train, old style train with these compartments, these 6 seats, and a sliding door. And she said opposite me, she instantly started the conversation almost all the way to Hamburg. She asked a lot of questions. She was very open, very curious, in a very positive way, very warm-hearted. And somewhere between Bremen and Hamburg, she said to me, young man, let me tell you one thing. If you want to become a nice elderly gentleman, begin today. And I love it. This is something that I can tell to so many young people. Don't rush to get old, but keep in mind that you age every day 24 hours, that you are in that flow, and there is no way to escape it. But do it in a way that you will end up is a horrible word, you will come to a state of being a nice, in a real sense, nice old person, nice and wise. When I say nice, I don't mean a pushover and somebody who's always smiling, but somebody who has a warm heart and a warm soul, and somebody who people like to talk to. My grandmother, she had so many friends when she was in the mid-80s. But I remember she didn't talk a lot. And a few years after she passed away, I began to understand why people loved her and loved visiting her day by day and being in her company, simply because she didn't talk a lot, but she listened a lot. And when we think about living and leading in the flow as leaders, as we all are, we sometimes ask ourselves, oh, I ask you, you have worked with many different people, you had different teachers, so many people who were authorities in your life, have been authorities in your life. And there might be one particular leader that stands out, and this is somebody who you will remember for the rest of your life in a positive way, I hope. Now, using the words of this old lady on the train between Bremen and Hamburg, I say, if you want to be a boss or a leader or a team leader or a colleague to be remembered, begin now. And when we have this opportunity of going through the process of aging day by day, we also have the opportunity to change our beliefs. A lot of beliefs are not very helpful. We pick up a lot of beliefs in our lifetime that don't serve us very well. I'm not good at that. That's not for me. We know all this blah, blah, all this internal dialogue that sometimes comes up. Somebody told me once, he said, I don't have many beliefs. And I'm glad that over my lifetime, I shook off all the beliefs that didn't serve me well. And what I learned from him was the fact whenever I stumble upon one of my beliefs, I have a conversation with the belief and say, hey, are you actually true? Are you actually true? And are you actually serving me? How are you serving me? Now we do our Rosenberg every Monday morning. Edina will show you in a few minutes. And here's a little reminder why we do it. Stanley Rosenberg, he wrote his book, Accessing the Healing Power of the Vagus Nerve, when he met with Dr. Stephen Porges in 2002. And Stephen Porges spent about more than 30 years of his life to do research on our vagus nerve. He had fascinating questions. One of the questions that he was driving him was the question, why do some babies die suddenly and why do others survive? And one of the answers he found, in a nutshell, he found that what the vagus nerve that we call the central organ of our parasympathetic nervous system, the one that cools us down, that gets us into a healthy freeze, sometimes unhealthy freeze, has actually two branches. And one of his theories, I'm not sure he validated it, was that babies that die prematurely don't have a fully developed second part of the vagus nerve, the ventral part of the vagus nerve. This is the one that apparently gives us connection and more safety. But let's forget about theory. Let's go through it a little bit. And again, I do not want to bombard you with too much theory on the Monday morning, just a few little things. The world as we knew it consisted of the sympathetic nervous system response that was fight or flight, or the parasympathetic, the vagus response that was calm down and freeze. And freeze can be a very healthy thing. When the duck is chased by a dog, and the duck falls dead, the dog loses interest because usually dogs are not interested in dead prey. So the dog turns around, and the second the dog turns around, the duck gets up and runs away. So freeze can be a means of survival. But in our day and age, where the saber-toothed tiger is not a daily reality anymore, but the representation of the wild animal, the representation in form of a tax officer who sends us an angry letter, a boss who shouts at us, all these things, the representation is still there. But our opportunities to fight back or to fight are very limited. Imagine what happens when you run out of a meeting in tears. You follow your flight response, but it's probably not very good for your career. So that's when freeze becomes more a normal state. But we find that, this calming down response has two effects. One is this freeze, this going into a state of calming down in a positive way or freezing in a negative way. But there is this other thing, this healthy, this connected, loving, thinking, learning, resting, digesting place. And this is what Stephen Porges found. That is a part of our nervous system that mammals, and we are mammals after all, have developed over thousands and thousands of years. That connection is a very powerful thing to survive. We skip this and leave it for next time. But this is why we do our Rosenberg every Monday morning. It's the ANS, the Autonomous Nervous System Training. Imagine you have a bicycle and your bicycle carries you through your life. And when your gears are not trained, when they're rusty, when they're not oiled, it's very difficult to adjust to different situations, to be resourceful in any given situation that hits you. But when you train your autonomous nervous system, when you oil your gear switch on the mountain bike of your life, then it's so much easier to get through every day of the life and respond in a very resourceful way. So this switching through the gears, fighting when it's necessary, running away when it's necessary, freeze when it's helpful, and connect when it's for our best. Switching and making the right choices in any given situation. That is what brings us into a flow, and you see, a rusty switch gear, that's not a flow. When you're on a bicycle and you switch the gears and it goes, and you stall in the middle of the going uphill because the chain doesn't switch over, you have to get off your bike. That's not a flow. When you can switch the gears elegantly, yeah, that's real flow. So the basis for life in flow are the 4 Fs. Fight, flight, freeze, and flow. And this is something that I would like to show you before I hand over to Edina. This is what John Grinder developed, and he calls it the chain of excellence. It all begins with our breathing, respiration. Deep breathing helps us, and you notice this when you consciously breathe, your physiology changes. When your physiology changes, your state changes. So with good breathing, we can change our physiology. With a good physiology, we can influence already our state. And with a positive, strong state, we have more choices, and choice of behavior becomes much easier. So I invite you to a day and a week of flow. And now it's over to Edina.
Thank you, Walter. Everyone, now it's time for you to close your eyes. Just make yourself sinking into your chair. And let's begin by breathing in deeply and fully. Filling your entire body with air until you can't breathe in anymore. Hold it at the top for a bit. And then release the air out. And let's do it again. Take a deep breath in to the top. Hold it there. And then release all the air out. One more big full breath in. Just welcoming the oxygen to every part of your body. You hold it, and now you breathe it out and release it all. Bring your breathing to a nice slow rhythm. As you lower your shoulders, soften your cheeks, and open your chest for welcoming. And now, see if you can envision that you are standing in front of a rainbow. It's just a foot away from you, just one step. You can see the vibrant colors of its light coming about you. And they are just falling into the ground. Now you just take one little step forward and you immerse yourself into that light. Immediately feeling the coolness of the colors of around you. living and leading in the flow of your life. As the leaders, as we all are. Now imagine the energy as its rainbow enters the crown of your head and flows gently down your body, all the way down to your feet, into the ground. You can feel the pure energy of the rainbow clear to you, making space for easy flow from the top of your head till down to your toes. When we wake up every morning, we know we have again 24 hours ahead of you. You just breathe in and welcome the colors of change every time as they flow through you, bathing you with ease. Everything is clear. Everything is flowing. Everything moves through you and from you, with you and in love. Flight, fight, breathe and flow. Take these colors of rainbow through the day for you, welcoming always the change in the new. And whenever you feel ready, just start tickling your toes, breathing calmly again, and acknowledging the present around you. And by taking a deep breath, you can start slowly opening your eyes and settling yourself for our road work exercise. Nice big stretch. That's it. Remember, keep on breathing nicely and smoothly. And now let's turn our head to the right. Keep on breathing and feel the stretch. And slowly back front. And now let's turn our head to the left. And keep on breathing. Slow. Now let's turn it back to the front. Now let's try to reach the sky which has no limits. And making a nice chair from your hands for your head. And remember, don't move your head just with your eyes. Let's take a look on your right elbow. Take your side on the right. And keep on breathing. Bring your side back to the front. And now let's turn your side to the left. Taking a look on your left elbow and still not moving your head. And now bring your side back to the front. And release your arms. Now we keep on going by taking our side on the right. Keeping your side on the right, you start slowly moving your head towards your right shoulder. Keeping your side on the right. And slowly back up. Now we take our side on the left. Keeping our side on the left, we start slowly taking Moving your head towards your left shoulder, keeping your sign on the left. Slowly back up. Now we do it vice versa. We keep our sign on the right, keeping your sign on the right. Start slowly moving your head towards your left shoulder, keeping your sign on the right. And back up. Taking your sign on the left, keeping your sign on the left. You start slowly moving your head towards your right shoulder, keeping your sign on the left. And slowly back up. Palm of your hand. All your love or your heart or your energy into them and just put it under your cheek. And just get to the feeling of hugging yourself, feeling the love, and appreciating yourself for the being you are, who is ready to welcome every day as a new day. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and a blissful week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Edina.